It would be hard to argue against this proposition, that no empire during its height imagined itself as ever falling, yet fall they do. Yes, you're here again. It's Art Meets Jeff. But wait, first, I'm losing the hat. Owning the true state of my head. You can leave your applause in the comments. Today it's a series by American painter Thomas Cole, The Course of Empire. Alright, let's do art. The American artist Thomas Cole painted his series, The Course of Empire, in the 1830s. It is a series of 5 large paintings showing us the rise and fall of an imagined city situated where a river meets the sea. A classic positioning of a city that allows for a water supply and for internal and external transportation over river and sea. The 5 paintings are named by the artist as Course of Empire, and then each painting having one of the following additional titles. The Savage State, the Arcadian or Pastoral State, the Consummation, Destruction, and Desolation. Artists will often create a series, sometimes an unfolding story like this one, and other times they return again and again to a specific subject. For example, Monet painted haystacks multiple times in multiple lights and times of year. Commercial art galleries prefer artists to provide a number of paintings on the same theme, as this seems to sell them more quickly, the sense that a purchaser is partaking in owning part of a broader period of artistic expression. If a story is told over time, separate canvases can be used to separate each time period, such as the Pioneer triptych by Australian artist Frederick McCubbin, where 3 events are separated in time. And in the Course of Empire series, Cole needed 5 paintings to tell his whole story over 5 long periods of time. The style is romantic, and it was Thomas Cole himself who founded the famous Hudson River School of Romantic American landscape painting. Each painting is representational, with imagined romantic elements linking back to Greek and Roman empires within the city, particularly arches, columns, and their capitals. This style exists, and existed in Cole's time, in Washington DC, reinforcing the idea that Cole was providing a warning to his own country, America. The 1830s was a time when a distinctly American national culture was emerging. Even at this time of national growth, Cole was wary of any kind of thinking of empires being naturally self-sustaining. After all, no empire had achieved that through history. The ideas of manifest destiny, to be stated in America within a decade, and American exceptionalism were no doubt already embedded in the thinking of some. And it's not a matter of politics, although some thought to ascribe this to Cole, but rather to take a broader historical view and recognise that great power can fool any nation or empire into thinking their ongoing existence is guaranteed. But the continued existence of an empire is not only not guaranteed, it's not even yet demonstrated, not even once. Hitler's declaration of a 1,000-year Reich was at length at the extreme end of historical precedent. In the end, Hitler's Reich lasted 12 years and ended in ruin. Cole had political critics who, although they may have recognised that empires rise and fall, thought America would be different, that it would pursue a continuing upward trajectory, and that there would be no destruction in the United States, as Levi Woodbury, a justice of the Supreme Court, said in direct response to Cole's paintings. Although Cole may have been aiming his work at his own country, we can take a step back and consider the broader course of the empires of mankind, each one seeing its ongoing existence as inevitable, each one falling, often with disastrous consequences for local populations. Looking at the paintings as a series, Cole has used this high cliff with its rock poised over the sea as a way of anchoring the scene through all 5 epochs. The rock also demonstrates the solid physical world upon which mankind and our empires exist. We, as individuals, pass over these landscapes as fleeting shadows, our lives short, our empires rising and falling, while the underlying rock ever remains. Cole provided his own written commentary for each painting, and when I quote from it, I'll make that clear. It's unusual for an artist to provide written notes. Most artists expect their work to speak for itself, with the only words from the artist often being just the title of the artwork. All right, telling Cole's story of the course of empire then, we start with the first painting, The Savage State. Cole said his first painting may be called The Savage State or the commencement of empire. It is set in spring, the period of new life. He described his scene as containing a single figure in pursuit of a deer, but also a number of figures dancing around a fire. Together with the huts, Cole said that this was the first rudiments of society. Men are banded together for mutual aid. He then differentiates between the useful arts, construction of canoes, huts and weapons, and the fine arts, seeing music and poetry as eventually arising from the singing and dancing. In our world, such places, wild and untamed, are seen as beautiful, unspoiled. Some of us pine for a return to such a state, but are also forgetting that it was hard and lives were short. Cole said of the hunters and the teepees that the empire is asserted, although to a limited degree, over sea, land and the animal kingdom. Well, just barely. The next painting, the Arcadian or Pastoral State. The term Arcadian relates to an ideal rural paradise, the word coming from an ancient Greek rural area. Set just a few hours after sunrise in early summer, the landscape has been softened. People have more time for leisure. Sheep are tended, crops are ploughed. In the distance, a temple with the smoke of sacrifice rising. The man in the foreground is thinking about geometry. The boy is drawing a picture. His mother may be gathering flowers. Others are dancing, being accompanied by music. A ship is being constructed on the shore. Cole describes this man walking up the hill as a soldier. Such a time and place is often thought of as idyllic, happy, peaceful and picturesque. Perhaps this is the ideal time. The size of the village is small, our efforts have created time for leisure and the fine arts. Everyone has a role, but the role does not consume them. There is enough time, there is enough to eat, life is simple. Cole said, "In this picture we have agriculture, commerce and religion." For him, these are markers of progress. Something Cole may not have imagined is our own impact on the world. But for us, we recognise that the landscape here has not been decimated. For as much as we can see, the natural world is mostly unaffected by these small groupings of humanity amongst the vastness of the wilderness. Is this reading more into the painting than Cole intended? Yes, it is. But as I have argued elsewhere, an artwork once launched by the artist creates its own meaning, both within its own time and beyond it. Good art keeps speaking to new audiences with insights not directly envisioned by the artist. The next painting, The Consummation. This is set at midday, the height of the day, in early autumn, the golden season. Cole provides a depiction of wealth, seeming abundance and conquest. It is the height of empire, in the full glow of the midday sun. Cole described the scene. In this scene is depicted the summit of human glory. The architecture, the ornamental embellishments, etc. show that wealth, power, knowledge and taste have worked together and accomplished the highest need of human achievement and empire. As the triumphal fate would indicate, man has conquered man, nations have been subjugated. Cole said again, The conqueror, robed in purple, is mounted in a car drawn by an elephant and surrounded by captives on foot, and a numerous train of guards, senators, etc. Pictures and golden treasures are carried before him. He is about to pass beneath a triumphal arch while girls strew flowers around. This society is consumed by conquest, by entertainment, by a glorious show of gold and lavish spectacle. Its temples and buildings proclaim their own glory, markers of having arrived. The people revel in decadence and the conquest of others. Has the world ever seen an empire like unto this empire? Surely we are exceptional. Cole's whole worldview is from the viewpoint of empire, of nations and collections of nations. We can take a broader view though. The agricultural land to support this city, although not shown, must have been immense. The wilderness, literally seen during Cole's time as something to be conquered, has indeed been subsumed, the natural world pushed into corners. Whether Cole foresaw loss of wilderness or even thought it was an issue is irrelevant. We see it. Art has the capacity to make us think more deeply, and in our time that means we have to consider not just what are we doing within our nations, but more broadly. Because it turns out the world is not inexhaustible, our environment is not an endless resource. And now, in an age of nuclear weapons and environmental pillage, we hold within our own hands the means of our own destruction globally. While Cole did not foresee that, we can. We can take from an old artwork new lessons. The next painting, Destruction. Cole's painting gives us storm clouds raging overhead, while beneath it is the weaker who are preyed upon as the great city falls. The Colossus, whose shield has been held aloft over the city, has been beheaded. Its shattered head crashed to the pavement below. While a battle rages, women are taken and fires are set. Cole said, "A barbarous and destroying enemy conquers and sacks the city." Description of this picture is perhaps needless. Carnage and destruction are its elements. In Cole's time, destruction of empires was viewed as coming from an outside force, as seen in this painting. Within that was the recognition that trouble does arise first within, that nations sow the seeds of their own destruction by becoming weak, self-centred and soft, glorying in their accomplishments while becoming inured to the cost. Nations become prey to carpetbaggers, agitators who stir up cultural differences, culture wars, for political and financial reward. Nations become focused on their own internal squabbles, increasingly polarised and partisan. While Cole could not see it, we recognise that a fall may not be an overrunning of an external enemy, but that the enemy arises from within. Take a global view, away from the idea of nation and empire, looking at our entire planet, and we see that there is no external enemy. It's not the Martians who will destroy us. The enemy is already here. It is us. Our inability to get along, our greed to consume our natural resources as if there is no tomorrow, our discounting of facts and science in favour of pseudoscience and conspiracy theories, our careless violence. By making prey of our own citizens, we sow seeds of discontent and hopelessness. Economic forces can become so overwhelming that some give up. Witness the lay flat movement in Asia, or quiet quitting, and others seek violent answers. In a globalised world, it is too easy to see other nations as the only threat, but in our societies, oligarchs control the flow of news and truth is hidden. Culture wars replace consideration of deeper issues. Scapegoats are created to hide the real ills of our society. Endless reality TV and celebrity gossip fills the void of missing meaning, and political distractions inure us to the fact that many are on their knees. Cole's vision of destruction is more visceral, the fall of an empire in a day. This happens, although it can also be that the fall is more protracted. Either way though, the fall can be seen as on the way for decades, even centuries. Every empire has faced this, or faces this. We move to the last painting, Desolation. The course of empire has run its course, the glory has gone. I'm going to leave you with Cole's words. The sun has just set, the moon ascends, the twilight sky over the ocean near the place where the sun rose in the first picture. Daylight fades away, and the shades of evening steal over the shattered and ivy-grown ruins of that once proud city. A lonely column stands near the foreground, on whose capital, which is illuminated by the last rays of the departed sun, a heron has built her nest. The Doric temple and the triumphal bridge may still be recognised among the ruins, but though man and his works have perished, the steep promontory, with its insulated rock, still rears against the sky unmoved, unchanged. Violence and time have crumbled the works of man, and art is again resolving into elemental nature. The gorgeous pageant has passed, the roar of battle has ceased, the multitude has sunk in the dust, the empire is extinct. Is it right to make geopolitical points from art? I would argue that art has been doing that for centuries. As a mirror of society and humanity, art will often be uncomfortable, creating reactions like, "It won't happen to us." Even that reaction shows the art hit home. I've tried to up my game here by using a better camera. Still working on the lighting though. My newer videos are in 4K now, so increase your settings if you want to see a sharper image. A few have mentioned background music being distracting. I've dropped it down to almost nothing now when I'm speaking. Thanks for your support. I've got a link here to Gast, John Singer Sargent's response to World War I. Worth a look. See you next time.